Welcome to the Power of Care podcast with host Brianna Dance. On this show, we will take an in-depth look into personal and professional resilience on several different levels. This is a space for people who are trying to navigate the ups and downs of life successfully. Be sure to follow on Instagram at Power of Care Podcast and on YouTube at Power of Care _.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Power of Care podcast. My name is Brianna Dance and I'm the host of this amazing show. And today I have two great friends of mine, Cyhl and Ashley Quarles.
Hi.
Say what's up, y'all.
What's up?
So let me tell y'all about Ashley. I've known her my whole life. We're basically family. And today we're just going to talk about like marriage, family, purpose, faith, all those things. And Ashley is the chief of staff at the DOD, and she is also a mom of two amazing boys, and she volunteers at Bowie State University. She was a college athlete, volleyball girls, and she also is the lead admin for the Bowie Bulldogs football program. So let me introduce Cyhl Quarles. He is a senior federal major account executive for Proofpoint. He has over 10 years of experience managing federal government accounts. He attended Wake Forest on a full athletic scholarship, and he had a small stint in the NFL. He's also an amazing dad of two boys, and he is currently a youth football coach of both of his children and co-commissioner for Bowie Bulldogs football program. So y'all are busy.
Yeah, really busy.
Very busy.
Very busy people. Okay, so we want to know how you guys met. And I know everyone has a different story based on who's telling it.
So we have this whole ritual thing whenever somebody asks a question. So I'll go ahead and let Cyhl start. No, please start.
My story is the truth. So I'll let you say this non-fiction story, and then I'll give the fictional story, and I'll give the non-fiction story.
Go ahead, Cyhl.
Start us off, Cyhl.
So long story short, I was at the mall. Right? I was at the mall. One of my friends, one of my teammates at Wake Forest University, and I happened to look across, just staring because we were younger. We were looking at watches in the middle of the mall, and one of my friends was trying to buy a watch. And I looked over at down the hall, just looking around the mall, and I noticed two young ladies looking at me. I'm like, man, what is? And I got 20/20 vision, so I can see. So I'm like, man, are they looking at me? And I recognized one of the young ladies because I met her through a mutual friend that I talked to like a month prior, and she was with Ashley essentially, and they were pointing and laughing and giggling and pointing at me. I was like, they gotta be looking at me now, And so I told my friend, let's roll out because he was done buying his watch. And
Where were we?
We were in Haynes Mall and went to Cyhls, North Carolina.
Where was I?
You were at the Cinnabon spot.
Okay.
I do.
That's the key point.
That's the key point.
Okay.
That's the key point. And so I was walking off, and me and my friend were leaving out, and I heard somebody call from back, hey, Cyhl. So I turned around. It was a young lady, one of her friends, her old teammates. Her name was Asia. And Asia was with Ashley. And long story short, we ended up talking after that mall situation. And we're here now sitting on your couch with two kids and married.
So let me fill in some of the gaps.
Yeah.
Let's fill us in, Ashley.
Let me fill in some of the gaps. So my old teammate, she was talking to one of his teammates. So, college was like, oh, girl, hook me up with one of his friends. So this is the day before, like the day we went to the mall, we're like on Facebook. And she's like, oh, okay, well, he has two friends named Cyhl. It's a light-skinned Cyhl and a dark-skinned Cyhl. I was like, oh, okay, the light-skinned Cyhl looks cute. But his name is spelled Cyhl. So I was like, Cyhl, chill. Anyway, he's a little cute. So we put that to rest, right? We go to the mall. So we're at the Cinnabon stand. And Asia's like, oh, my God, Ashley, it's the dark-skinned Cyhl. So we're like looking, and I'm like,
See that?
So
I heard that.
We're looking that way. That's the laughing and giggling. He's looking this way, I guess, because he noticed my teammate. And then that was that. So they start walking off, and we're like, okay, well, let's go. Let's go ahead and walk off. Let's follow them. And then nobody said, hey, Cyhl. Nobody did that. They had stopped at the middle. They stopped at a store because he was talking to somebody, and we ran into them. So then him and my teammate, they started talking. I was on the phone, and didn't pay them any attention. And then from there,
were you really on the phone, Ashley?
No.
He says I wasn't. I think I was. It was so long ago. I think I was on the phone.
Okay.
And then he had hit my teammate up that night and was like, "Hey, who's your sister?" Da, 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 da. And that's how we started.
It was 2 hours
So
later
there
after
you
the
go.
mall. I got a phone call, text 10 minutes after.
I know that's
There
right.
we go.
But you know we're in the situation. See how I just kind of finessed this to allow her to tell this whole story? Thank you, Ash. I appreciate
Beautiful
it. I
teamwork.
left a lot out so she can just fill in the gaps.
Anywho, we're here now.
You're here now. So
Yeah.
y'all both went to 2 different colleges in the same area.
Yep.
And you played football, Wake Forest, Winston-Salem volleyball. So how did you guys work that out? Because both of y'all were on scholarship. So I know that's demanding.
Yeah.
How did you guys, once you realized, okay, this person's cute, I want to explore this, what was that next step of like making it serious?
So we didn't probably like make it official, like really start talking maybe till like a year and a half later. You know, we were talking on and off, and then kind of like went our separate ways, and then came back. But it was actually kind of easy in a sense because we kind of like had the same schedules, right?
Got it.
And we knew that when you got practice, like clearly practice, games, study hall, film, that's a priority, right? And we can't do anything about it. Usually when you're in like relationships, I'm like, oh, well, you're not making time for me. Da, 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 da. I think it's easier in our case because we were both student athletes and we knew the commitment that we had to our universities.
Yes.
But you know, it was hard because it's not like we had a bunch of time to spend together because volleyball and football season are both in the same season. So it's both in the fall. But I just think it made it a lot easier because we were kind of like going through the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when you have the same vision and the same schedule, so to speak, when it comes to sports, academics, study hall, and training table, which is like the food process, then it worked out. She understood that I had to, go to practice, and I understood that she had to be at practice. And the time we did spend together was beneficial, I guess.
Yeah, you
it wasn't
enjoyed-
easy though.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, but it was fun. It was a fun process. I'm
It
glad
was
we went
fun.
through it. Yeah.
What was the most fun memory you guys had in that time that you can tell on TV, and the most challenging time?
While we were in school,
Well, just I guess, when you were in school and maybe even transitioning out of college.
The most fun time. I guess the fun time, I think it's every relationship is like the beginning, right? The beginning stage is always fun. Meeting somebody new. She's from a different area. She's from the DMV. I'm from Georgia. Trying to, bridge that gap of how we talk, how we speak to each other, just on a fun basis, right? And then also just our priorities, how we were raised. I think we were raised somewhat similar. And in the retrospective, we grew up playing sports. Our parents were involved. And so that was probably the most fun part, just the beginning stage. Taking
was
the
the most-
Carrabba's, taking the
Okay,
The
Carrabba's.
Carrabba. Y'all heard that, right? It's the Carrabba. But
we loved Carrabba's.
Y'all love Carrabba's?
We haven't been back since.
that joint nasty. You get older, you start to figure out.
You're like, ooh, that's not real food.
That joint nasty. And I think the most challenging part was our transition with the pregnancy and us, trying to work our relationship out. And then I know we'll get into it later. Which I always say. Stay tuned. But I think that was probably the most challenging part, having to grow up at a younger age. That's a lot of other families have to do. But in the process of graduating from college and then me trying to chase my career in football, and then her trying to figure out, what it looks like to be a young mom, and then me being a young dad. So I think that's most challenging.
Yeah, I agree with the most challenging. The most fun, like we were very, before kids, right? And we kind of like ours now, but very spontaneous. And we would just do...
Sounds crazy, but...
Not in a crazy way, but just like, okay.
You need to relax.
We did
This
anything.
spiritual podcast.
No, just like
Shout out to
very-
Steve, by the way.
Very spontaneous, and it's like, hey, you want to go here? Sure, let's just get up and go. I mean, like memories where, like, we weren't going out all the time on our free time because we would be very tired from practice, from games. So we would literally just like, so he had an apartment off campus. We would just like chill and order pizza and eat pizza in the bed, like super low key. But it was very fun. We would do like hibachi. It was like a not the real hibachi, but like the
Quick way, like
quick way.
Quick way.
And get like the hibachi and just like eat it and just like super low key and chill. So those are the times that was like really fun because that's when we were getting to like know each other. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And then would you say the most challenging time was the similar time when once you became pregnant and figuring out like what it means to be a mom at this age?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we were young, right? I had just graduated. It was a lot. Like, we didn't know what the future held. We weren't married. You know, I was the first one, I think, in my main group of friends who had a child. So it's not like I saw this person raising a kid and everything was fine, right? So it was kind of like learning on the go. And that's what we did. Because we were still learning each other, right? That was in our early 20s, right? Everybody says, oh, you go through the 20s, you know, you learn yourself in your 30s. It's like all of this stuff. But we were literally learning and growing up together. So it was a lot of things that we had to learn about ourselves still and then learn about each other and how we can continue to, you know, work and build together. Because ultimately we had the same vision. We knew we wanted to be together, but we had to put in some really, really hard work to get to where we are today.
Absolutely. So y'all were like early 20s, 21, 22?
21, 22.
Yeah. So at this time, y'all graduated. Ooh, you made it out. Got your degree. And then you're still pursuing your career. So Kyle, tell me about that, because I know you went into the NFL. Like, you're traveling, you have a family, you have a son now.
Right.
Caden's here. Like, what was that like for you, trying to balance all of that?
So Ashley graduated. She walked across the stage pregnant in 2011 with Caden. I had another semester because I redshirted.
Okay.
So for those that don't know what redshirt means, just basically had another semester to play football. And so I was a fifth-year senior, and during that time I stayed in Winston-Salem because I was at Wake Forest. And I played. She ended up coming back home in the area, obviously, because she had Caden. Hindsight 2020, I probably should have told her just stay with me in Winston-Salem. But during that time when Caden was conceived, we were not in the best, you know, light, so to speak, as far as our relationship. So we were trying to figure that out, and then God kept us together, essentially, right? She got pregnant, and so that sounds crazy, but she got pregnant, and I obviously will probably talk about what that pregnancy looked like. But for me, it was rough because I did have other teammates on the team that did have children. Okay. And they were doing a good job as far as raising them, and so I knew what it took to be a man to step up to the plate. I wasn't worried about that aspect. It was more so being able to provide. And I think that's probably the biggest, I guess, hurdle that young couples have to face, trying to provide financially for children, right? And you being the man, it's like, oh shit, I got to figure this out. I gotta figure it out ASAP. We had a vision. The vision was, it was tangible, meaning, go to the NFL, try to play and make, adequate amount of money to be able to provide for the family. But it was still up in the air because you just don't know if you're going to be drafted. You don't know if you're going to be undrafted. I went undrafted. I got a $5,000-$6,000 signing bonus. I took them all to get shoes. I thought I was balling.
I know that's right.
We're going to get it. This is pre-NIL. Name, image, likeness.
Money.
Yeah, this is pre-NIL. So now, the name, image, likeness aspect of college sports allow these kids to get paid an adequate amount of money in college before they even have the opportunity to make it to the NFL. So shout out to all those guys that are able to do that now, but we didn't have that. We was getting our checks from our school from our scholarship money, but you had to pay for your room and board, which is our apartment off campus. Other stuff you want to buy, like just going out to eat outside of, the regular cafeteria, which is paid for. But long story short, when I got to the NFL, when I was undrafted, I didn't have, I didn't get that lump sum of money, that big signing bonus that most of the drafted kids got. And so I was still trying to navigate through that. Luckily, I was able to go to the Ravens, so it was in the area for where she was, raised and born in DMV. So that kind of helped out, but it was a tough process. It was a tough process, and like Ashley said, being young and her being the first friend out of her core nucleus of friends to have a baby, I think she mentally struggled with that a little bit. Me, I had homeboys that had babies. That my roommate had a baby. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, we got kids.
That's what we do.
I'm 22.
Yeah.
So all I looked at it is I'm 22. We got kids. Just how do we provide for the kid adequately, right?
Yeah.
But now that we're 12 years down the line, 13 years down the line, you look back, it's like we're so happy and grateful that we had kids early because most of our friends are having kids now, which is a good thing, right?
Y'all gonna help me when
that's absolutely. But as we get older, like I like my sleep. Like, Ashley likes to sleep, and so it's like, man, I'm so glad our kids are self-sufficient.
Yes.
Like Caden is probably the best big brother ever. Yeah. And Carter just, he loves him. He loves Caden to death, so they just fall in line. They, they make their own food. Caden makes eggs.
I know that's right, Caden.
Jelly sandwiches. So I don't be too long-winded, but it was a rough process. But as the days and weeks and months and years started to flow, we started to appreciate more being young parents. I can't run like I used to, so.
But now you teach them how to run.
Yeah, I do. Neither can she. But we'll talk about that. We're good.
Thank you, Kyle, for that. Like, Ash, from as a friend watching you guys, I always wonder, I never said it, I'm saying it now. I was like, man, I wonder if they feel lonely. Like, because y'all were figuring it out, but I feel like watching it was with grace. Like, I know it wasn't easy behind the scenes, but just like admiring you from afar that, wow, look at what they're doing for their family. Look at how they're navigating it. And even being the only like person married or the only person with kids, like, if you couldn't make something, I'll be like, of course she can't make it. Like, in my head, I was just like, I just felt like I had a grace or understanding for you guys, because I'm just like, that must be tough.
Yeah, it was really tough. And again, you know, I lost friends.
Yeah.
Friends that I thought that I was going to be friends with forever. Lost friends because, maybe not solely because of that, but right, my priorities had to shift. And if you weren't in line with that, and it's kind of like a blurred thing and putting more stress on me, I'm like, I don't need that. I literally did not have time for that. But I can say that freely now and be okay with it. Like, it was hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, even, you know, I would talk to Cal about it, about some of the girlfriends that I had, and I'm like, okay, well, saying I don't have spend enough time with them, or I don't do this, I don't do that, or, and it's just, it was like, at first I was like kind of low-key depressed about it, about losing friends, and it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Like, I got this kid, and but now it's like, it's freeing. And, you know, it's no hard feelings with the friends that I lost, no hard feelings at all. But, you know I had to make some changes personally in order to be the person that I am today. And I'm grateful for it. You know, I'm grateful for the process.
Yeah.
Like I said, the process wasn't easy.
No.
It was not easy at all. You know, having kids at such a young age, you know, grateful for our village, our parents, everybody who supported us. But it was hard. I'm grateful for Kyle because, like, he didn't have to do what he was doing, right? You hear the horror stories about,
Okay, point.
You hear the horror stories about, you know, what some young parents face today and people not being involved in their life. And I can never say that about him. He was always there. He was always present. He supported when he could. I did my best to support him, right? It was hard, but look, God bless it. God had our back, literally, our front and our back. And we wouldn't have made it anywhere without him. And, you know, during that whole process, that's when we got to, you know, experience God more and build relationships with him, because we knew it was only him. So, yeah, it's definitely a process.
Yeah, it was a process. And it sounds like not only did y'all appreciate each other more, but y'all's relationship with God individually and probably as a family got stronger too. So what's one of your favorite things about Caden and Carter? Because they're different.
Very different. I'll start with Kaden. Kaden is so special.
You better start crying.
She's gonna cry. It's fine.
Here we go.
Your firstborn.
I'm tearing up.
I might cry too. He's my baby.
No, you cried. I see a little tear.
I ain't crying. Not yet.
I know. Okay. Kaden is very special, and I tell him that. I try to tell him that on a daily basis. So for those who don't know the story, you know, got pregnant at 20. I was actually 20 when we conceived, and it happened. This is just God's timing, right?
Actually.
And it happened, like, I found out after my last collegiate volleyball game, right? So I made it through my entire 4 years, and then it's like, okay, a week later, it's like, oh, okay, I'm pregnant, right? So we were not going to go through with the pregnancy. And when we set up the appointment to get the abortion, and when I was laying on the table, they did the ultrasound, and they're like, oh, you're having twins. And I'm like,
Yeah.
huh?
I didn't know that.
And so I was already hesitant of doing it, right? Because it's like, do I really want to do this? But it's probably best for all of us. It wasn't like I was being pressured. It was just like, I'm 20. What am I going to do with a child?
Yeah.
But laying on that ultrasound table, when they said you're having twins, I was like, I can't do this. And I was like, okay, well, thank you. I'm out. And I called him like immediately, and it was just like, what? I don't have twins in my family. You don't have twins in your family. It's like, okay, clearly that's a sign from God.
Yeah.
Like, let me get up off this table, take my butt home.
Pause real quick. So when she called me, we were home for Christmas break. And so this is when your parents taking care of you. So my phone was off. Like, for everybody, my dad missed the bill or whatever. Cool. I mean, my dad don't ever miss bills, but he missed the bill. So my phone was off. And I was like, dang, she didn't call me. What's going on? Because I was in Georgia and she was in Maryland. She went to, because we skipped an aspect of that about the phone call to their parents or whatnot. But anyway, she was in Maryland. I was in Georgia. I was waiting for the phone call to see what the next step was. So, did I need to fly up or drive up or what are we doing? And I didn't get a phone call from her. I'm like, where's she at? What's going on? My phone was off. And then finally I got in touch. She's like, where you been at? I'm like, man, I'm sitting in the crib in Georgia. What you talking about? Where you been at? But sorry I had to throw that in there.
So there was some time. There was some time gap between,
because she had like mentally she was by herself for a minute, so she had to make a decision, and I wasn't there to chime in because my phone was off. Like my phone's never off. So that was just weird to me. I was like, dang, my phone was off. But then when she told me that it was twins, I was immediately, my mind shifted from, okay, we might end up getting this abortion to, dang, we got to follow through with this.
Yeah, like we gotta
follow through with this.
Right.
Like now we really gotta man and woman up.
Yeah.
So that essentially, and I think that was probably like the first time where I kind of like visually and witnessed a sign from God. Because one, like I said, I really didn't want to do it. I knew it wasn't like the right thing to do.
Right.
But that was ultimately a sign. So fast forward, clearly Caden doesn't have a twin. We ended up losing the second baby, maybe like
Second trimester, I think.
the second trimester. The baby kind of like dissolved. But that was a clear sign, like that Caden is supposed to be here on this earth. And here we go. So that's why I tell him all the time, like, you are special. We have not told Caden that story in depth, but we know he's here for a person. He is amazing. He is a honor student, 4.25 GPA, an athlete.
I found that out yesterday or 2 days. Like, you got a what? I don't know.
We knew. We knew, like, he's straight A's, right? But he's in honors classes, so the weight of the grade is more. So that's where...
I was confused. I didn't know what that was. I was like, well, how?
He's like, I wasn't doing no honors.
As long as Ashley can come to me and say they're being bad in school, I think they're doing fine.
Right.
4.2, like, how, Ashley? That's not possible. I was about to argue with, like, you're lying. Like, no. And I looked at Kate, he was like, yeah, bro, I got like a 4.2.
So, student athlete, he does great on the football field. And he's just he's a natural born leader. Like, you can just tell. And he's just a good kid. Like, he's very reserved. For those who don't know Caden, like, he's very reserved, but he has a goofy side. Like, if he knows you, the shield comes down and he gets to this annoying fade, and I'm like, okay, look. But he's very reserved, but he has this side to him that is super goofy and fun, and he loves his little brother. He's a nurturer. So he has all of these qualities that are just like that anybody would want
their kid to have.
And he's just amazing and an amazing leader for Carter, because since Carter can walk, it's been doing everything that Caden does.
Yeah.
Right? So when we're at the football field, he's running around with a football field wobbling, can barely walk. When we're at the track, he's running track. And we have videos. And now Carter excels in everything that he does.
And like when we would watch videos of Caden running touchdowns when Carter couldn't play. And you look on the sidelines, Carter's running down the sideline, chasing, trying to score a touchdown.
Oh my God. Looking at his brother.
So I couldn't imagine a better child to have somebody to look up to and like be that role model, because like I said, Carter does currently today everything that Caden does, right? So Carter is, he excels in the classroom for honor roll student as well. His teachers always say, oh, he's a leader. He helps out in the class. He's a gentleman. He gives, the seats. If the girl needs a seat, he'll help her with the seat or whatever. Very athletic. And with Carter, like, Caden is very technically sound, like by the book. I'm going to follow the rules.
Whatever they ask. Yeah.
Carter, I think, is more naturally gifted in certain areas, so it comes a lot more easier. But again, he's been doing it since he's been walking, because he's been following Caden. So if you look at, like Kyle posts him a lot on the Instagram, Carter is on the football field, on the track, excelling, right? And sometimes you look at it, it's like, well, what's Caden doing? Like, and we tell Caden sometimes it may get a little challenging for him because he's like, okay, Carter's getting like all these first and second places, and you know, Caden, it's a little more challenging.
He has to
for
work
him
a little harder
on the track,
Yeah.
Because of who they're competing with, right?
Got you.
But what we tell Caden all the time is he is great because of you. Like he has been doing
watching you.
Yes, he's been watching you. You are his teacher, right? So we try to bring that into perspective for him. But I don't know if I answered the question. I kind of went on a tangent.
No, you fine. You sound like me last time. But I'll wrap it. I'll bring it.
Yeah,
full
bring us
circle.
home.
But no, yeah, Caden's very special, and I don't want to keep reiterating all the stuff that Ashley just mentioned, but he's definitely a leader in his own right. And I think she hit the nail on the head when she said that he's more technically sound. Like he's an above average kid when it comes to athletics and sports, right? So if the litmus test is 10, he's like an 8.5, 8.7. But the extra emphasis on his skill set is what we bring to the table to get him over that hump, to get him to that, you know, closer to that 10 mark. He's gonna be one of those kids that will, you know, excel. And we talk about the NFL, we talk about playing professional sports, we talk about being leaders in the community and all that stuff. He's gonna be one of those guys. I can see him being a mayor if he just steps out his shell. Like he's one of those guys, real cerebral. But with that, he's like really athletic too. But it just so happens that our youngest is just like one of those just crazy, freaky, athletically gifted children. Like he's off the mark. But a lot of that has to do with Caden, right? And then you add the extra spice, quote unquote, that me and Ashley bring to the table when it comes to training them. Is just, it takes him extremely over the top. And so with Caden on the track, he has to compete with 13, 14-year-olds because of where his age drops. So he's 12 years old, essentially. All the people that are around him are 12. But with track, you have to compete with the age group that you turn that year. Most of his friends turn, 12 in the beginning parts of the year, January through June. He turns 12 along with one of his better friends, little Travis. He turns 13, in August. So that means he has to compete with 13, 14-year-olds. They group them in a group. So that's how they do track. So essentially, if you have a 14-year-old that turned 14 in January, then he has to run against Caden, who's 12. And so if you look at Caden's numbers and his times on the track, they are top 5 with everybody that's in his age group. He would literally be going to AAU Nationals if it wasn't for his birthday is in August. But we don't use that excuse, and I would never post that on social media. I'm just saying because obviously it's his family. But because this neither here nor there. I say, bro, you're wasting his time, you're wasting against your clock. Your clock is your clock. Your time is your time. And that's quote unquote a secondary sport in relation to football. We run track to get better for football, but it just happens they're both good in track too. So, Carter put us in a bind this year with our family vacation. Because now we have to go to North Carolina for AU track. Last year you qualified, but it was in Iowa. And me and Ashley, we
don't want to go to Iowa.
But it falls right in line with like the beginning parts of the football season. And it's like, God, dang, we got to go to North Carolina. Which is cool though, because we met in North Carolina. They're going to be running in Greensboro. We met in Winston-Salem, which is 20 minutes away. So I'm excited to see one of my teammates that's still living around there. And maybe some of your friends, I don't know.
Maybe,
but I'm gonna see my friends.
I don't know if your friends,
God.
all in all, the babies are special, and we're grateful. We get emotional about them.
Y'all love y'all babies. We love your babies.
So
they're good. They're good kids.
They're really good kids. And I hear, when you describe them, I hear a mixture of y'all. I mean, it's just amazing how God does that. How do you guys manage time for yourself, time for each other, time with the kids, time, self-care, all of the things? Like, what does self-care look like with life's responsibilities?
I'll start. I mean, it's crazy you ask that question because we know a lot of parents outside of our nuclear circle with parents with kids. Like we have, coaches that we hang out with close with their family and some of the teammates and their parents. But outside of that, I know parents and groups of families that their special time is away from their kids. It's crazy because our special time is with their kids. And we always talk about, we're going to take, vacations. We're going to do this, couples trips and stuff, or just me and you just going on a trip. Our first trip that we ever took that we planned on our own was, I think, last year for our 10-year anniversary. And so we very rarely,
By ourselves?
By ourselves?
No, it's not.
When?
We went to Mexico.
With a group?
No, we went with are you talking about just?
Where was just y'all two?
Us two. Us two, like planning a trip, and me and her just going on our own. I don't say it to say we don't want to ever do that, but we put family vacations in front of our vacations together. And so we've been over the last, year and a half, really focusing on each other more because she would ask questions and I would like kind of like try to figure out as well, like when the kids are gone, what are we gonna do? You gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
And so back to your question, our time that we spend together it's always a group, us four, me, Kate, and Carter Nash, and we have fun doing it. It's very fun.
Yeah.
But again, we have to find time to spend time together to understand each other more. But that all goes up to us having kids early. Since Kate and them are self-sufficient now, me and Ashley over the last year,
true.
hey, you want to go to the bar up the street? We go to the bar,
Unwind,
talk about our day, what's been irking you or what do we need to do financially to do X, Y, and Z or how's work going? She's the chief of staff, so it's like, okay, so who you dealing with? Like, who's getting on your nerves?
Okay.
And I have accounts I have to manage or what the federal government doing. The election's coming up.
Ooh.
And so, but with that, even when we take trips, just me and her, or we're out, we find ourselves talking about the kids anyway. It always comes back to the kids. Well, we got to sign Carter up for this camp. Well, Kaden wants to go here. How do you mind him going to this swimming camp? No. You know what I'm saying? So, or yes, rather. But yeah, I mean, our downtime and our alone time is us laying in the bed watching TV. She'll probably be watching her Real Housewives. I'll be watching some First 48.
Okay.
And the kids will be running around or yelling on FaceTime with their friends. But that's kind of our downtime and alone time. Anything else outside of that, like if we weren't here right now, we'd probably be at a track meet or a football game or some practice or something. And we enjoy it because she's involved.
Cool. Yeah.
She's involved. And one thing I can't say about Ashley before I just stop talking for going on a tangent, she's always around. And so if I'm out there training kids during the day, that's because I telework and I have my computer up and my VPN network and I'm just working. But I'm out there because she's probably at work. But if she didn't have to work, she'd be right there out there with us, watching, recording, cheering, encouraging. So one thing the kids can't ever say is, my mama wasn't around. She was
at every game. Okay.
My mama was there. She was running up the sidelines.
And the team loves Ashley. I've seen the footage.
Running up the sidelines, getting us penalties because she's in the way of the ref.
Get off the field.
So, but no, she's always there with the kids. She's always very supportive, and she's like Supermom. We call her the princess and the queen in the house. And so she gets everything she wants.
That's right.
So, like Kyle said, it's a lot easier now, right? Of course, and because then when they were younger, it's like finding babysitters. Sometimes you don't want to go through all that stress. And although, like, you can still have alone time with the kids in the house, right? So, like, we were even doing a thing where when the kids would go to sleep, we would just be in the kitchen just talking. Making a little drink, talking, watching TV, just, chilling. So, but it's a lot easier now. Like you said, we can just run down the street. Like, hey, let's go get some tacos. So, but yeah, we do try to, although it's not as often, right? Because it then comes with finances, right?
Okay.
Like we haven't done it as much recently, but like over the years, right? Him going on his trips with his friends, me going on my trips with our friends, like. But then we also wanted to have that family vacation.
Yes.
And then we want to have our solo. Like the money adds up.
And then FBU on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then the mortgage.
That's another football thing.
Then she wants a ring, and then I got to buy a hat. And then
Not a hat.
I like shoes.
Okay. Gotta be fly. Gotta be fly.
Then we go out our friends locally and you spend $300, so it'll add up.
So it's just prioritizing, right? It's not like we're not getting our time together because we do. It's just depending on what it is, right? And I'm fine with, like, a lot of people I know probably aren't okay with just hanging out at a football field or a track meet. Like we like our group of people, and we do consider that quality time because we're together, right? And we're just chilling. So it's perspective.
It is.
It may not look like it's quality time, but it is.
It is, yeah.
And one thing I like is, like, we enjoy, we get on each other's nerves sometimes, but about 80% of the time, like, we enjoy each other's company. You know what I mean? Like, we have a good... Excuse me.
Fix your face, Kyle.
We have a really good time. Cracking jokes, we have a good bunch of a core group of couple friends that we like to hang out with. Like, I like to curate a good type of a night where we have just married couples just hang out together. So we have a good bunch of friends that we hang out with, and it just makes everything more, enjoyable. So
that's a lot of good advice. Ash is like going with the seasons. Like, you just never know how things change, and just it doesn't have to look like what I think Instagram or what other people try to project it should look like for your family.
And we learned that early on, even when we did like the premarital counseling. Shout out to Pastor Kurt. He was great. But we learned it early on that, you know, we are clearly, I don't think the traditional couple, you know what I mean? We learned that when we clearly had a child out of wedlock, right? But everything doesn't have to be what's in the book, right? You make it literally your own and whatever works for you two. Because there is no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. So I don't want people to be discouraged, like, oh, well, we don't do this or we don't do that or we don't share this or we don't share that. Like, whatever makes it work for y'all, just do it. Because at the end of the day, it's just you two, right? It ain't you two and all these other people. It's you and your spouse.
Yeah, to piggyback off what you're saying, like, your relationship is your relationship.
Yeah.
Our relationship is our relationship. It's funny, I mean, since we're here, talk about, you know, from a financial perspective, we don't even share the same bank accounts. Well, we do have one. We actually just went to the bank and got a check done for some stuff we'll talk about in a minute. But we she I'm always jumping ahead, right? My bad. But you know, she does her own stuff with her money, right? I do my own stuff with my money. We have a clear understanding as how the bills are paid and all that good stuff. And I've been seeing all this stuff on social media about 50-50, 50-50. We don't do 50-50, but she does contribute a lot. And so I do the mortgage, I do the power, electric, and then she does our phones, and she does the insurance because she works for federal government. And prior to me getting these jobs with, you know, in federal government software sales and stuff, which probably the insurance a little bit better, but the federal government is known to have good insurance. So she does the insurance for us, and she does the cell phone bill and the after school care for Carter, like the small stuff that adds up, right? And I pay for like the bigger utilities and all that stuff, and obviously the mortgage. But I say all that to say is, when people are trying to, you know, form a relationship and get with somebody, they need to kind of put things into perspective. Like, the cost of living is crazy nowadays, and we're just fortunate enough financially that we can, you know, we can provide for our kids and do whatever we want to do, buy whatever we want to buy, travel. It's just a timing thing for us, really. And so we're very grateful and blessed for that. And we tithe. That's another thing for another conversation. But I think the big thing is just basically making sure that your relationship with your spouse is your relationship with your spouse. Now any outside forces, me and Ashley have a vision as what we want for our kids and how we want to move and how we want to operate, not only with our living quarters, but also our finances and how we want to raise our boys and what we want to get them into early that we think maybe it possibly would have hindered us or did hinder us where we're at now, or slowed our process down, rather, I should say. Like internships right before college, or internships in college, putting your eggs in one basket. Now let's make sure we broaden their horizon as to, you know, what they are preview to prior to being adults. And so, I mean, social media can be the biggest detriment for a lot of couples because they look at other couples and everything's peachy, and it may not be peachy.
And you have no idea.
For those that follow our social media, Ashley don't really post at all.
She sure doesn't.
She don't.
I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna try.
You sure don't.
I barely post. I don't. It's not like I don't post because I'm hiding or you know, or ducking.
You living your real life.
But our life is our kids. Like, I like posting my kids. Like, everybody always say how wonderful. You want to see them grow up? You want to see what they do every day? You want to see what they go through?
Internet kids.
We get conversations. We get asked questions. Why? You know, they're so fast. They're so good. They do this and that. You want to see why? I'll show you exactly why. So we'll, you know, I show them running, working out, the good,
training,
them throwing up, which some people don't like. What is, but this is the process. Them lifting, them running, them talking crazy to us. I'll post ads sometimes, dancing or, you know, walking in the kitchen. It's just that's my life. That's why I like posting. It's not about me. It's about my three people that I'm with all the time.
I do want to start posting more. And I look at like the content people create. I'm like, dang, I wish I had time to do that.
Because it is time consuming.
It's time consuming.
It's so time consuming.
I'll talk about that in a minute.
And this year I wanted to be more present. And that was like kind of a thing that I set for myself. Like, I want to be in the moment. I want to experience it. So I'm still documenting, right? Because I want to take pictures and have things to remember. But I just want to be in the moment. And it's like Cyhl is more responsive than I am. I think that's a good way to put it. But like literally a day.
Social media, but via text I am. Social media, I suck. DMs and stuff.
But like posting in the moment is really hard for me. But I do want to start posting more because there's a lot of content that I have in my brain. It's just finding time because during the day I don't have my phone. Right. So
your job.
So that's 8. Well, I work that I'll say 8 to 10 hours a day, I'm away from my phone. Then when I get off, it's straight to business. We got kid stuff.
Okay.
Like, when do I have time? And I'd rather just sit in the bed and talk to my husband or watch TV rather than, like
sit there editing.
So I'll figure it out.
She don't even respond to my DMs. All I do is look at funny stuff. It's either posting the kids looking at funny stuff. I'll send stuff to my friends, funny videos. I'm like, they asked you seen that video? She's like, what video? I'm like, all right. So I'm not gonna see you anymore.
Yes, you do.
No, you know, I'm not sending you nothing else.
Oh my God.
I'll get better.
Okay, that'll be a good. But I think your reasoning is really good.
Yeah.
It's just you want to be present, and I think that's amazing. As we wrap up, who is one person y'all want to honor that was like supporting you in your journey? Whether it could be any part of your journey, it could be high school, college, now in your marriage, or as a mom, or as a professional. Who stands out to you that you just want to say, you know what, this person was really. They dropped this knowledge and it was really, or was just their presence was there.
Yes, sir.
Anybody come to mind?
I would narrow it down to one person.
Okay.
For me as a man, trying to understand how to be a father and husband and be a leader in the community, it was a lot. Just trying to do that. It still is a lot today. It's not, it didn't decrease, it actually increased.
Yeah.
But it's just a group of people, it's like a lot of people in general, from just like father fixing. I don't look at people as wanting to be like anybody. So I'm my own person. I know right from wrong. I know what I need to be doing. I'm a grown man. Like, I make money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So God has provided for us and allowed me to be in a position to provide for my family. But I look at a lot of people between my dad, her dad, shout out to Minister Tim, a gentleman named Randall I used to work with at Rico, my peers, my homeboys. Shout out to Donnell, David, all my homeboys from Georgia when I grew up. It's just different pockets of people that I lean on for different understanding as to, how to be better, right? Shout out to all my college homeboys. Like, I got coaches on my staff right now between 9U and 12U. Even one of my better friends like Coach Travis, Fran. I got a lot of guys. I know I missed a lot of people too, so charge to my head, not my heart. Pause. But but I got a lot of people that I kind of lean on for different situations to help me stay level-headed. Yeah. Especially with all the crime that's going on around social, like youth sports and stuff. And I have a hot head. Like I'm passionate about kids, and so when it comes to people playing with kids like grown men, I don't go for it. But I've learned to kind of simmer down and lessen my emotion when it comes to dealing with certain people, because they may have had a bad day too, and that could lead to other stuff. So I made a vow to myself over the last 3-4 months to just kind of listen to my peers and just kind of relax when it comes to arguing with random men and situation when it comes to kids.
Because you don't play about them kids.
Yeah, I don't play about them kids. but when it comes to like mentorship and people that have been involved in my life, it's a handful of people. And then as people help me, I've helped others, and that's helped me more too. Like me and my brother, we had rough patches over the last 10 years, going up and down as far as communication. And last 2 years, shout out to Big Bro. Like we've been good, we've been tight. We don't talk every day, we don't talk every month, but we'll send each other stuff on social media, or my mom will send information like random texts, and it'll make us talking in passing. But that's my guy. When I go to Georgia, I'm going to Georgia twice this year, so we hang out with my brother. So
that's amazing. You have a lot of amazing people in your life.
Shout out to her brother too. Shout out to Andre. Yeah, shout out to Big Dre. That's my dog.
Shout out to everybody.
Right.
But no, like you said, it's definitely a village. No one particular person, because a lot of the people that are in our circle, whether that's our parents, our friends, godparents to our kids, everybody's been so supportive. And they even, people stop what they're doing on their busy weekends and come support our kids, right? Those little things mean the world to us. But I will say, when we first started, or when we first got married, or maybe when we were engaged, we were trying to find other couples to hang out with, right? Because we're like, okay, this is hard. We don't know what we're doing. Let's meet with some people so we can kind of learn what they're doing, because we wanted to do things the right way, right? Especially because we were building our relationship with God. So we were meeting with a few friends. Shout out to Vic and Jonelle.
I knew I was going to miss some people.
But those were those critical times for us was just like what we needed, because we knew that other people were going through the same thing as well, and trying to have a healthy relationship. It was hard, especially how many ever years ago that was. So just surrounding ourselves with like-minded people, and them being encouraging to us and like, hey, y'all got it, y'all can do it, right? That meant a lot. But yeah, our village is continuously grows, right? So yeah, we appreciate everybody, but it's not just one person. It's a lot.
You have.
And shout out to her mom as well too. I mean, her being a young woman raising a son, and being her mom was like there for her. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard for anybody to trust any man, meaning me, right? Me and me being in that position, like who the hell? Like hopefully this dude, hope he steps up to the plate.
Yeah.
Like hopefully he's who he says he is. But shout out to her for just being there to help her daughter, in that transition mode, and then we took off from there. So yeah. Yep.
Family's everything to y'all. I mean, I hear it, and y'all embody just love and growth and faith and just perseverance. And I see how you show up for your friends and your family and your kids. And so thank y'all for showing up for me today.
Yes, absolutely, Bree.
And is there anything that you want to end with, I guess, when it comes to encouragement to anybody out there, when it comes to friendships or family or just anything that's on your heart to end with?
Stop. You got it.
Go ahead, babe. Because you always have an answer.
Ashley, what? See, I would say just if you're in a relationship or if you're married, keep your marriage between you and your spouse. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Always have accountability partners, like-minded couples to kind of talk out certain things. But if it's something that, it's very personal, I'm not saying don't go talk to nobody. Have a therapist, do what you do, but make sure you keep your in-house stuff in-house. Because once you start going out telling people your business or what he ain't doing, what she ain't doing, then they're going to give their advice, and it's going to cloud your vision as to what really needs to be done in your household. Finances, children, time spent is always like three main things that I think that, could hinder or help a relationship.
Yeah.
And so come up with an understanding what your finances look like between you and your spouse. Don't go off social media. Figure that out on your own. Yeah. We figured it out. We figured out we're doing really, really well from the finance perspective. Family time, we figured that out as well. At first we would, as Ashley mentioned, she would take her girls trip maybe 2 a year. I take my boys trips maybe 2 a year. We'll try to take a family trip, and we always was left out not taking our trip. But we really didn't trip because we didn't have an issue with it, because when we're on our vacation with our babies, it's like, oh, we having fun too, right?
Yeah.
But now that we're older, we're starting to understand, okay, the babies are getting, they're about to transition out of our household. What we gonna do? Ain't gonna be no more football field or track meet. It's gonna be, all right, we're going to brunch.
Where we going?
What we doing? So, just keep your relationship, no matter if that's 20, 80, 20, 50, 50, 100% the man, whatever, 100% the woman, the man stay at home. We can do that too. You want to do that?
Or I can stay at home.
Or you can stay at home, and we can stay at our current house, whatever you want to do. But just make sure your vision, keep your vision, and take care of your responsibility. You can go out and have fun with your friends, do what I do, but make sure home's taken care of. I think that's the big thing. She takes care of home, I take care of home. And we're not on each other's back. Like she's not nagging. She doesn't annoy me like most men say their wife does. She doesn't annoy me. She's a typical woman, right? She wants answers to certain stuff.
Okay.
She expects stuff to get done, and I try my best to get stuff done, right? And so if I can't get it done, then that might cause an argument. But I'm standing 10 toes down. We can argue about it. But I'll shut up there. I'll let you go.
You did good, babe.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
No, and I guess the last thing I'll say, I mean, everything you said, you hit on. But my late grandma used to say, love isn't love until you give it away. And it's from a poem. I don't know what the poem is, but Cyhl has taught me, he constantly reminds me of the importance of giving to others. And because it always comes back in return. You don't just give just so you can get it back in return, but I'm grateful for that because it's being instilled in our kids, right? And I'll just give a funny story, not a funny story, but we were at a youth event at church, and they had extra pizza. So we took the pizza, and we were driving down the road, and there was a homeless guy on the road. And it's like, hey, money or food. And Cyhl always gives money, always. And if Caden has it, he gave a whole 20 one time. All right, well, that's your allowance. Sure, go ahead. But Carter just started like crying because we were at the light for a long time. We were at a red light. He just like, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he explained like, he doesn't have any food. can we give him the pizza that we got? So we literally, Carter gave him the entire box of pizza. So I think the love that we have given over the years is finally coming in like full circle for us. So, you know, just showing up for your friends, showing up for your family, doing the best that you can. And I think it's helped us get to where we are today. So in addition to, you know, giving and, you know, being there and continuing to love on your family, just be nice to people. Just be nice. And, you know, we try with our friends and, you know, the circles that we have. So yeah, that's all I'll leave with. And I appreciate you, right? Because you're a giver too, right? You give, and I've known you my whole life, and I'm just happy for the platform that you're building, and everything that you're doing with your Power of Care, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're giving. So we appreciate you having us here, right? We appreciate you having us here, and hopefully it will help somebody.
It will
along the way.
It will. Thank y'all so much. No, Kyle is such a giver. I remember we were going on vacation, and he was like, "Oh, Bree, you want this?" And Ashley be like, "Kyle."
He's such a giver.
I love you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. How can we follow you? I know. Do you want people following you?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I mean, shout out the Instagram name is crazy. Kyle Q5 on Instagram. My Twitter, I haven't been on Twitter forever, and my name on Facebook, Cyhl.
Cyhl.
But yeah.
You called him Chill?
She calls me Chill.
How would you, if you see Cyhl, how would you think that
I don't know.
Ashley,
I wouldn't know what to
on
say.
Camera, you gonna start a domestic on camera in front of these fine people? Don't start a domestic on camera.
And cut.
Start a domestic.
Oh God. Okay, let me end it. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. Make sure you follow Power of Care on TikTok and on Instagram.
Yes, TikTok.
Thanks for tuning in to the Power of Care podcast. If you'd like to hear more, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Power of Care Podcast. And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at Power of Care _.